The morning dawns with an almost deceptive tranquility over the Heartland Ranch, a serene prelude to an earth-shattering revelation. Hudson awakens under a gentle sky, the sun casting its golden promise over the familiar landscape, horses grazing peacefully, their breath misting in the crisp air. Inside the barn, Amy grooms a chestnut mare, her movements practiced, her mind seemingly distant. A picture of routine and safety that feels almost too normal, a held breath before the inevitable shift. The camera, as if sensing the monumental change to come, moves with slow deliberation. Faint footsteps approach, heavy with the weight of time and a long, arduous journey. The lens focuses on a pair of scuffed, dusty boots, boots that haven't trod this ground in years. Denim, a worn jacket, a tall silhouette at the barn's entrance. Backlit by the rising sun, a collective heartbeat skips. The moment stretches, music fading to a profound silence. Then, his face comes into view. Ty Borden, alive, breathing, standing right there. For an instant, disbelief reigns. Is it a dream? A fleeting flashback? But no, it's undeniably real. He has returned, and in that moment, time itself seems to pause. Amy freezes, the brush clattering from her hand. Lindy, watching from a distance, her eyes wide with a child's unfiltered disbelief. The wind whispers through the trees, the world holding its breath. Everything once accepted, every step taken to move forward, shatters in the most beautiful, heart-wrenching way. The truth, buried under years of silence and sorrow, begins to surface. When Ty was shot seasons ago, the world was told complications had claimed him. The hidden reality was far more complex. After being rushed to the hospital in critical condition, Ty's path diverged dramatically. He had been on the verge of exposing a dangerous, illegal wildlife trafficking ring, making powerful enemies who would stop at nothing to silence him. Recognizing the imminent threat to Ty and his family, the government orchestrated his disappearance. His death was faked, his identity erased, and he was placed into witness protection, completely cut off from Amy and Lindy for their own protection. For years, Ty lived in silent isolation, unable to contact his loved ones, waiting for the day it would be safe to return. That day has finally arrived. Ty didn't vanish out of desire, but out of an unbearable choice. Protecting Amy and Lindy was paramount, worth more than his freedom, his very identity. Every second in hiding, every lonely night in a borrowed life, was fueled by their faces, Amy's strength, Lindy's smile. He made the ultimate sacrifice, driven not by fear, but by an unwavering love. Now, after what felt like an eternity, with the threat neutralized and the case officially closed, the chains that bound him have broken. The road home, once an impossible dream, is Ty Borden takes that road, step by deliberate step back to Heartland, the only place he has ever truly belonged. The scene returns to Amy in the barn, lost in the comforting rhythm of grooming the mare, dust motes dancing in the light. A morning like any other, or so it seemed. The familiar creak of the barn door, a sound heard countless times. She doesn't react until something shifts in the air, a sudden stillness, a palpable change. Slowly, she turns, hand frozen mid-stroke. Her breath catches. There he is, Ty standing in the doorway, weathered by time, an undeniable strength in his presence, but unmistakably him. Her soul seems to cry out, before her voice can form his name. Ty! It falls from her lips. A prayer, shaky, broken, sacred. He doesn't speak at first, his eyes filled with unspoken words. Then, a soft nod. It's me, Amy. And the world breaks open. She rushes to him, her heart unable to bear another second of separation, crashing into him, sobbing, clinging as if terrified he might vanish again. Her body trembles in his arms, and he holds her tighter than ever before. I thought I lost you, she chokes out. Every day I prayed, I wished for a miracle. Ty buries his face in her hair, his voice cracking. I never stopped loving you. I've been trying to come back to you this whole time. It's a reunion born from pain, patience, and a love that refused to surrender. In that embrace, years of grief begin to thaw. Wounds start to mend. Amy, who had learned to survive his absence, can finally breathe with him again. Then, a small, curious voice. Mom. Amy turns. Lindy stands a few feet away, her favorite book in hand, a puzzled expression on her young face. She stares at the man holding her mother, her heart sensing something profound. Mom, who is that? Amy drops to her knees, hands trembling as she gently takes Lindy's shoulders, her voice wavering with emotion. Sweetheart, this is your dad. This is Ty. Time stills once more. Lindy looks up at the man before her. His face is unfamiliar, but his presence radiates a gentle warmth. She doesn't fully comprehend, but she doesn't need to. Ty kneels, tears in his eyes. I've missed every moment of your life, he says softly, but I've loved you since the day you were born. And then, without a word, Lindy steps forward, wrapping her small arms around him in a gesture of pure trust and bravery. She feels it, his heartbeat, his love, his truth. In that embrace, something sacred occurs. Not just a reunion, but a rebirth. A father and daughter, finally united by destiny. Outside the barn, Jack Bartlett approaches, a man who has shouldered more grief than most. He's seen friends and family fade, horses take their final breath. Loss has been a constant companion, but nothing cut deeper than losing Ty. Wasn't just Amy's husband. He was family, Jack's protege, the young man who, under Jack's guidance, learned to ride, to build, to believe. The boy who became a man Jack loved as his own son. Their bond was forged in sweat, hard work, trust, respect, and the quiet understanding of true family. The day Jack was told Ty had died, he didn't weep, didn't speak, but something deep within him fractured, leaving a wound that never truly healed. It wasn't just the loss of a mentee, but the loss of a future envisioned for Ty, for Amy, for the family they were building. So, when Jack hears cries from the barn, his mind races. An injured horse. Amy lost in a painful memory, but as he steps inside, his breath catches. There before him stands Ty. Their eyes meet. Time freezes. Jack, carrier of so much grief, stops mid-step, struggling to comprehend. Hi, Jack, Ty says, his voice low, thick with emotion. Jack's hand trembles as he slowly removes his hat, his eyes, usually a bastion of strength, welling with tears. In that moment, years of silence, pain, and wondering for what feels like an eternity, Jack stares, suspended between disbelief and a flood of memories. His lips tremble, he takes a breath, then another, and slowly walks towards Ty, each step heavy with the weight of mourning a man who was never truly gone. Face to face, Jack's jaw tightens, fighting the overwhelming emotion. You little son of a gun, Jack says, his voice gruff, thick with unshed tears. I knew in my gut you weren't gone. I just couldn't let myself believe. Without hesitation, Jack pulls Ty into a fierce embrace, a father welcoming a son home from war. His arms are strong, protective, filled with a love shaped by time and loss. He slaps Ty's back, just as he did when Ty first arrived at Heartland, a lost, angry boy searching for belonging. That same slap now carries decades of love, forgiveness, and overwhelming relief. You were the best damn decision Amy ever made, Jack mutters, his voice breaking. And now you're back. Thank God you're back. This isn't just Ty's return, it's healing. For Jack, it's the restoration of his family's missing heartbeat. The hole in his heart finally filled. For the first time in years, he can breathe again. Later that night, the shock settled. The ranch bathed in quiet evening. Jack and Ty sit on the porch. Much like old times, crickets chirp. Stars scatter across the sky. They sip coffee in comfortable silence. And in that stillness, Jack says the words carried in his heart for years. You made me proud, Ty. Every damn day. I may not have said it enough, but you were always like a son to me, and I never stopped loving you like my own. Miles away, Lou Fleming is buried in paperwork when her phone rings. It's Jack. She answers casually, expecting a ranch update. But his voice is shaky. Lou, he's back. Lou freezes. Who's back? She asks, though a part of her already knows. Ty. For a moment, Lou laughs. A breathless, nervous laugh of disbelief, shock, fear. The sound of her world shifting on its axis. Her organized mind goes blank. No, she whispers, shaking her head. No, Jack. That's not funny. It's not a joke. He replies softly. He's here, alive. Lou doesn't hang up. She grabs her keys, trembling, mind racing. No plan, just instinct. She grips the steering wheel, knuckles white, heart pounding, torn between hope and fear. Pulling into Heartland's familiar drive, she sees them, Ty by the barn, holding Amy's hand, smiling with his entire being. Lou's heart stops. Her breath catches. She steps out of the car, legs unsteady. For a moment, she stands frozen, watching this impossible reunion. When Ty turns towards her, their eyes meet, and her voice finally breaks free. Ty, she whispers, cracking under the weight of unspoken emotions. Ty walks towards her, tears glistening. Lou doesn't wait. She runs into his arms, reclaiming a brother she thought lost forever. And for the first time in years, Lou lets herself cry, not for the past, but for the miracle before her. It's like seeing a ghost. Hey Lou, he says gently. Her breath catches. A silent gasp. Her lips tremble, words failing, swallowed by disbelief. Her eyes wide with a whirlwind of shock, joy, confusion, scan his face, desperate for proof he's real. Finally, in a fragile voice, she whispers, No, no, you're supposed to be. The sentence shatters, grief rushing forward, tears come, a sudden storm. Her body trembles, legs unsteady, stumbling forward, heart racing. With every step, 1,000 emotions crash over her. Love, pain, anger, an undeniable need to hold him. She falls into Ty's arms, sobs racking her body. You don't understand what you did to us. Lou sobs, voice cracking. To Amy, to me. We broke, Ty. We broke into a million pieces. The words spill out. An ocean of years mourning his loss. Ty pulls her closer, his own tears falling. This isn't just reunion, it's reckoning. The guilt he's carried rises. I never wanted to hurt you, he says, voice thick with remorse. I didn't have a choice, Lou. If I could have come back, if I could have just called, I would have moved heaven and earth. Lou pulls back, hands trembling, touching his face, fingers brushing familiar lines. I don't care about what happened, she says breathlessly. You're here, you're breathing, you're alive. That's all that matters now. For Lou, this is breakthrough, release. After years holding her breath, the wall she built crumbles. She collapses, because the one she lost is back. She doesn't have to be the strong one anymore. Georgie was chasing Olympic dreams halfway across the world when the call came. She refused to believe it. This has to be a mistake, she said, some sick prank. But something in Lou's voice, an unspeakable truth, made her pause. She raced to the airport, mind reeling with memories of Ty, training rides, late-night talks, how he saw her as more than a foster kid, as fierce, capable. He was the first to truly believe in her. His death shattered that belief. Stepping onto Heartland's familiar soil, her heart pounded. She saw him by the fence, just where he used to be. Time stood still. Her backpack slipped. Her legs felt like jelly. He said it, his voice a beacon. Georgie, her name, the voice she never thought she'd hear again. She ran, throwing herself into his arms, sobs hard and fast. You don't know how much I needed you, she cried into his chest. When you died, I lost my compass, the one person who never gave up on me. Ty held her like a brother, steady, safe. I watched every single one of your competitions, he whispered, pride in his voice. I knew you'd be incredible. You always were. I never stopped believing in you. Later, under the vast, star-filled sky. They talked horses, victories, falls. Then Georgie said what lived in her heart. You weren't just family to me, you were my big brother. And losing you, it broke something in me I didn't think could ever heal. But now it was starting to. Tim Fleming rarely showed emotion, not because he didn't feel it, but because its depth scared him. He'd messed up too many times. When Ty died, he buried his grief under anger, fighting the world himself. He couldn't protect his daughter, couldn't protect Ty, carrying that guilt like armor. So when Lou calls, he doesn't speak, just grabs his keys and drives. The road a blur, chasing a goat, pulling up to Heartland. His heart is a drumbeat. He sees Amy and Ty by the barn, hands intertwined, just like before. His world tilts. What the hell is going on? Tim demands, voice loud, defensive, shaking. Ty turns slowly, calm. It's me, Tim. I'm alive. Tim's face flushes. Rage, betrayal, shock, relief, love, all tangled. You died. Ty. Tim shouts, voice cracking. We buried you. Amy mourned you. I mourned you. You left us with nothing. Amy steps forward, but Ty doesn't flinch. He walks closer, eyes locked on Tim's, the man who had come to respect him, love him like a son. I begged them to let me come back. Ty says, voice strong, sorrowful. Every day I watched Lindy grow up in videos. I listened to Amy's voicemails until my phone died. I never stopped, but they told me if I came back too soon, I'd put all of you in danger. Tim's jaw tightens, breath catching, then anger melts. Slowly, silently, he walks forward, pulling Ty into his arms. A father's hug, tight, desperate, unrelenting. You're a damn fool, Tim whispers, voice cracking. But I'm glad you're home. As the sun dips, casting Heartland in a warm glow, the ranch feels whole again. Not perfect, not healed, but whole, broken pieces, starting to mend. In the quiet evening, tears fresh, hearts tender, the family realizes an undeniable truth. Sometimes the impossible is just love, refusing to give up. Years later, Amy and Ty sit on the back porch, finding words for the unspoken. Amy clutches her coffee, hands trembling slightly, eyes on the horizon, heart fixed on the man beside her. Ty, alive, real, yet a part of her still disbelieves. Ty looks at her, not with old confidence, but with the humility of a man given a second chance. Amy, he says, voice cracking. I know nothing I say can undo the pain, the years apart. But please know, I didn't leave by choice. I didn't die by choice. I was taken from you, and I fought every single day to find my way back. Amy stands frozen, breath catching, tears flooding her eyes. This is the voice she's longed for, the face she's cried to, the man she thought lost forever, standing before her, the ghost of her sunrises. Then why didn't you come back? She asks, voice a whisper, shaking with unanswered grief. Why did you let me think you were dead? Why let Lindy grow up thinking her father was just a story? Ty lowers his gaze, shame etched on his face. I wanted to, his voice heavy with regret, but I couldn't. Witness protection, deep cover, an international investigation tied to the clinic bombing. They said if I contacted anyone, it could cost you your lives. I didn't believe it at first, but then I saw what they were up against. I stayed away to keep you safe, but every day I was gone, it destroyed me. Amy's hands clench, voice rising with the fury of a woman who's carried grief like armor. You don't know what it was like, Ty. She snaps, voice thick with pain. I watched you die. I buried you. I raised Lindy alone. You were gone, and I blamed myself for not being able to save you. Ty stands trembling, heart breaking. And I blame myself for everything. For leaving you. For missing Lindy's first steps. Her first words. I kept your photo in my pocket, Amy. Every single day. like it was the only piece of my soul that hadn't died. Amy turns, face streaked with tears, etched with years of pain. So what now? She whispers, a storm of emotions. You're back, but everything's changed. I'm angry, I'm relieved, I'm terrified. I don't know how to feel. Ty steps forward slowly, carefully, like approaching a wild horse once loved, feared to bolt. I'm scared too, he says low, vulnerable. I don't expect forgiveness or things to go back, but I'm here now. I want to be Lindy's father. I want to be whatever you'll let me be in your life. Amy stands still, heart a whirlwind, but deep down, she knows the truth, the love that never truly died, the man who promised her forever, standing before her, not perfect, but real. I never